Welcome to JobSkillShare.org. This is our third video in learning IT through scenarios, and we have started our first scenario in these two videos where we discussed about file sharing and how things get started and all that things that you don't know. It's not just about creating a server and doing things technically. It is a lot of planning, talking to people and stuff like that. So now you have learned that in these two videos, but today we are going to be actually doing it hands-on. So this is what people do on in courses and stuff. They just get to this point and they miss all these two videos that I created. So make sure you watch these two videos to get the full learning. Now, of course, we're not going to cover everything in details like best practices and stuff like that, because these are the things that we discuss in courses. And if for that you need to go and be a member on jobskillshare.org, go to this site and register. Now FTP is not covered at this time, but we are covering that in our system admin course in a very detail. So you will basically learn the kind of like a mini course on FTP servers and how things are done and the way we do things, the reality, real world scenarios and stuff like that. But from this video, if you don't want to take a full course and you just want to know about FTP server today and how to get it done and talk about it a little bit in an interview, because you may come across in an interview if you're going for like a help desk or maybe a system admin position on a help desk level, someone will ask you, do you know how to install FileZilla or connect to FTP server to grab some documents from another vendor? Can you work with the users, or do you know how to install FTP server? So today you will see that. You will see that little, you will get the feeling of it, how things are done. Okay, so first of all, go to Job Skills Share, search Job Skills Share, and this is the playlist. If you click on playlist, you can click here. This will be the third video. Secondly, I'm using the labs that we have on Job Skills Share. You can use the same labs that I'm doing it from here. You can click on 100 plus labs, click on that, and once you get the access, then you will see something like this. So today I am actually using this lab in a Windows environment where I'm using one of the pre-built lab, which is the networking with Windows Server 2016, and I'm actually doing configuring advanced Hyper-V, which is not actually a part of FTP, but it gives me a lot of information. So when I click on Start here, let me see, let me go back a little bit. So this is where I am right now. Um, Click here, click Start. Yeah, the reason I like this lab is because it gives you a full network environment, like domain controller, two member servers, and one Windows 10 machine. So this would be your domain controller in your business, and then you'll have like a server where people will ask you to, can you put a FTP server on it? This is where you don't put FTP server on domain controllers, because nobody wants people to be accessing your domain controller, and you can even do that with the local users because you don't have that ability in domain controller. So this is, forget about this one, you just need another member server. So in this lab you have two. If you mess up one in the same lab while you have minutes going on, you can jump into the second one just in case you mess up it with one. But let's say you mess up with everything, you can just reset this lab and get the minutes again going, everything back to scratch. But if, let's say, if you don't want to do that, you still want some time, you can just click on this little button and it goes to 60 minutes. Now let's jumping into our lab. Let's go ahead and click on member 2. This is the server that I am working on today to show you how FTP servers are installed from the scratch. So when you go to the business and everything is done, that's because this part is done for you. So I'm going to go to manage now. How did I even get to this piece right here, this little server manager? This is actually in the server, and hopefully you all know this. So you click on this little server manager icon right here, and then you go to the manage right here, and in manage you click on add roles. In add roles you click on next, then you click on next again, then click on next, and then you will click on the IIS web server. So right here, web server, add features, click next, 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 and this is where you get the web server features, and the FTP is inside the web server features. So you will click on this role services right here, next, and then you click install. Right now what's happening is that this 2016 server is installing FTP server for you, but then you still need to do some access and best practices type of things, which I'm not going to cover in this video. in that for that you have to do a very specific things depending on what your company need. Does your company require you to access FTP servers to be accessed by so many people so then they can see the folders all over, or your company wants to restrict each folder per user? So this is a lot of planning that needs to be done, and that's what we need a course for that. Just specifically a course on this, we have to spend a lot of time on that in the courses. So in this video, when this is done, I'm just going to demonstrate how you can get the server going on and then how the client will access your FTP server. So this will give you a full, complete, at least some level of idea of about FTP, that from now on, from this video, then you just need to learn more on your own by going to Google or maybe taking one of our courses. So everything is done now. So what we need to do at this point, we need to minimize this. We're done with that piece. And usually what I like to do is I would go ahead and open the server manager in this administrator tools. And in administrator tools, I would go here to IS manager, and I am going to make a shortcut on my desktop. So I did that. So we have a desktop right here. Okay, so I'm gonna open that, and just to show you guys that we have IS running. As you can see, we have IS running right now. And if I right click on it, I can create a FTP site. But before doing that, what you need to do, you need to go to the root folder of where things are actually getting started with FTP. You need to go to C drive. In C drive, go to inetpub. In inetpub, there's a FTP root. In this FTP root, you need one more folder, and you will create something like this: local users. A local user, that's fine, just with no S. You can right click on it, go to properties, and in properties you will click on security. And in security you need to add this account. This is for IIS purposes. Now some people do it a lot of different ways. Like I said, this is not a best practice video, so this is just to get these things going. What you need to do is you could change the location from domain to local machine, and then you will type I user and then click enter. Actually, it's not this. AIU, and just search if you don't know the full name. There you go. IUSR, sorry. So when you click on that and then click on allow full access, I'm going to do that and click on apply, and that's done. Now, in a real world environment, a lot of people will create another FTP group. So just in case you don't want to add single users to this folder all over again and again, a lot of people will create a group here, and then they will add that group. And then when you create a new account in the server locally, you just add that person to a group, so you don't have to worry about this. So let's just do that quickly, how to create a group. You will also learn that. Click on right click on computers, computer management. In computer management, we need to go to the local users, because we want to create your local users. We don't want to give a domain account, Active Directory account to vendors, because then they will have more access. So this way, these vendors can only access through these users. So then they don't have anything else. They just have this username and password. So right click on it, and let's say, for example, first I want to create a group here. I'm just going to call a group, new group, go to FTP group, FTP group right here. I am going to create that, or FTP users. I'm just going to do that, FTP users, and click create. And after that, when you do that, you can go to users. Once you go to the users, you can create a new user here, and here will be FTP user. I'm just going to call it FTP user 1. And now I can just give it a password. It's really up to you how you want to give the password, but it has to be a little bit better password, not a normal ABCD. So here you do that, and now we are going to click on create. Here you need to give it the group. So then you go to member off, and after that you need to click on add FTP users, and now this person is added to this group. Now if you want to be more secure, make sure you go to the remote desktop and deny the local logon permission for the server. So this way this user cannot log in locally to this server. So this is another security. This is why I like this way, because then you're not worried about this person logging into your environment and stuff like that. So now we have a FTP user created. We added that group. So now what we need to do is one more step is required here. You need to go into the same folder and add that group. So this way you never come to this area again. When you create a user, it's going to be only two steps. Create a user, create a folder, and you're done. This is what a help desk will do. They will take over that part when you get a lot of requests from users. We need to add a user, you just do that. But these are the things that are done before the help desk. So that's kind of like I like showing this type of stuff because then you learn the back end and also now uh, uh, how you're doing things now. So you click on OK, and now you get the permissions to the root. And in this root, now what you need to do, you need to create another, you go to users, and now you need to create another folder, and that's going to be FTP user that you just created one. Each username will have its own folder. Now, FTP have different designs. Now, I never tried other ones. I like it this way. You get the user, you get a vendor, you work with them, you just create one user for them, create the same folder for them, and it's super simple. After that, you really don't do anything. So now this FTP user can access this folder, and we can create another one too right here, FTP user 2. Now, I did this, but this will never work. The reason is that in FTP, when you are doing this, it's very sensitive to steps. So if I had to use FTP user 2, I need to create an account, but this I'm just doing this for testing purposes. I need to create FTP user in that local user first, and then I'm going to create a folder, and that's it. But for testing now, we have done all that stuff. Now we need to create an FTP site. So you will just need to come here to sites, add FTP site. This is the IS manager I'm in right now. Go to job skills share, and I mean you can type anything, and browse to that FTP root, not the local user. You need to browse to the root, inet pub, and then FTP root. This is the root right now because this is where we get the root access. Click next. This is where a lot of things can happen. I mean, you really need to know what IP address you're using, and this is where I was talking about that technical things and detailed stuff like DNS and other things that is actually not related to FTP. That's something you need to learn in a server courses and stuff, but we will cover that in FTP course. So 127.0.0.1, usually a lot of people will use this. The reason this that it's a loop address, so you don't need to worry about IP addresses, and in a most real environment, you never change IP for the server like this. You would give it a static IP address for testing purposes. You can either keep this or you can just leave it to all unassigned addresses. Now we don't have a SSL. We're not going to use that. So simply port 21 will work. But if you have SSL, you'll use like a secure port, and then you will put the IP address or the full name of the FTP. So you click next. I'm going to allow anonymous basics both, and I'm going to say all user can access. Of course, you can come here and specifically define users, but you can change that. And you can go to read and write permission, so this person can read the folder, whatever we are sharing with this person. So right now, what's happening is that this is not started yet. So let's go ahead and see. Go down here. And we just started that site right there. So if you see a little icon that it's not started, you still need to do that. And so now everything is started. And this FTP user one is added over there. And you can see that. So now the question is that after this, things are running. It's basically a real world calls will come to you. We need to create a vendor. We have a vendor that need to upload files to our FTP. Can you give them access? So you will do either help the system admin, whoever is doing this job, they will just do two steps after this. They will just right click here. They will go to computer management here, and in computer management you'll go to users, and then this person will add a vendor, like for example ABC company, and then ABC folder will be created in that local user and the password, and that's it. You will share that with a person or with the users. But if a company is more restricted, they will go to FTP user isolation, and here they will change some of the things to make it more restricted and things like that. So first, if I go in there right now, let's go ahead and try to install an FTP client now. how would the user actually access your server. So we're gonna go ahead and search for Internet Explorer. Now this is a piece that's done by local users, or you can do it for testing. So now I'm going to go ahead and download FileZilla. This is a client that can be used with FTP servers, and I usually use the SourceForge, however you pronounce this. I like this because it's a direct download. The direct link from the FileZilla just gives you a little bit more packages, and don't like that. So okay, come on. Because since this is a server, it seems like it's not liking. I'm gonna go to Files, download client from here. If you're doing this on the server like I'm doing it, you're gonna have some issues by downloading these files because servers are usually restricted for downloads. So as you can see, I'm having a little trouble here, but it's working now. Usually you will get like a big red X that it's not allowing, but that's because servers are more restricted, and you may need to get like a portable browser. You can go to Google, type portable Chrome, portable Firefox, download whatever you want to download, and then you can remove it. So now we are done with that. We installed our FTP client. This is the client that users use. You can be using a different client, it doesn't matter. So first of all, I need to know the IP address of this server. In your environment, you will be using something like ftp.jobskillshare.org because the DNS and everything is working. In this environment, we don't have that, and we will be doing that in our course, just because we like to do that kind of stuff. So ipconfig, I have my IP address here, so I'm going to go ahead a little bit up right there and see what is my IP address, which is right here. This is the real IP address. So I'm going to copy that. Okay, so we got the IP address right there, copied, and then alright, so after that you can type the username, which is FTP user 1 that we have created, and the password, and the port, which is 21. And as soon as you click enter, you can get to the files, and you can click here and you can see right there, local user FTP1, failed to retrieve listing. Now this is fine. Like I said, I have not done a lot of things in it, but you can see that this person can access all of this information in there. Now again, you can actually change all of these things by going to the folder user isolation. Maybe I'm not saying it user, but let's see what it is. FTP, yeah, user isolation right here. So if I do FTP root and click apply, usually it's in the root. Sometimes you can play around with these settings and how you want it in your company. If you want to just, for when you create a FTP user 1 and you want the FTP user 1 to just see this FTP user 1 folder, not the other users, then you would play around with all those settings. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work. Like I said, you have to do this in a very correctly manner. As you can see right now, this person is actually getting it to, when I change it to the root level, I can get to it now without any problem. So this is how you do things in FTP. As you can see, this is not the full video where we will cover every single thing like DNS and all that namings and testing it from outside networks, and all that stuff will be done in the courses. But at least at this point, you know from the scratch. Just talking to you guys about the scenario that got built up, how it got started with users, how we spent some time on plannings and stuff like that. Then it came to the point where we physically did something on a server, and then you knew that who actually works on these things. Help desk will be doing client installations and creating username and password, but now you actually saw the back end, how things were done even before you started work in this company. How did they even had this FTP server? I'm sure a lot of you have these kind of questions that you want to move up to these positions, but sometimes you just can't practice on these things because you don't know and you don't have too many things to practice on. So this is where the labs are going to be the best friend for you guys at this point. This is a new era where we need to do hands-on labs, and you need resources, you need servers and things like that where you can reset it instantly and work on it again and again. Then I strongly prefer you to go and take these labs. This is the good and great investment you can do for yourself. So thank you for watching this first scenario that we have covered. Now we are going to start a new scenario, brand new, where we will talk, then do the technical side of it, but not like in the courses. So the reason I'm saying this again and again, a lot of people will get confused. Why didn't you show the whole DNS stuff? Why didn't you show all that stuff? That's because I am covering that in a full course where I spend a lot of time, a lot of energy is spent on that, and things are done correctly. Just because people want to learn that in that way. Now, some people do not like that, and some people just want to watch the video on YouTube and they can get it from here and they want to do things on their own and want to do things for interviews and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing this. All right, thank you so guys. Thank you so much for this video. Make sure you guys go to jobskillshare.org and subscribe to this channel. This is going to help us a lot. Thank you. Bye.